Only 22 pitchers ever in MLB history have won multiple Cy Young Awards since the accolade was created in 1956. Of the members on this special list, only 5 of them are active, with the majority looking forward to another successful year in 2024. All but one of them, who might have just quietly made the last starts of his career in disappointing fashion. His name is Cory Kluber, and his ascendance to pitching dominance in the mid-2010s came in a golden era of starting pitching. But while his contemporaries have continued to play at an effective level into the latter stages of their career, Kluber's fall from grace was sharp and shocking. But looking back on it, his peak was one of the most impressive in MLB history, up to the standard of Kershaw, Verlander, Scherzer, and others, and it certainly deserves its flowers. And today we're going to give those flowers right over. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel and leave a like on the video. Kluber's road to donning Cleveland's uniform was certainly peculiar. He was a 4th-round pick by the San Diego Padres in 2007 out of Stetson University, the first of their new line of great pitching alumni like Jacob deGrom and Logan Gilbert. He was flipped in a 3-team trade at the 2010 trade deadline. He famously became part of the Kenny Lofton trade tree, which I've covered before, as the Cleveland front office turned Lofton into David Justice, then turned him into Jake Westbrook, him into Cory Kluber, and eventually Cory Kluber into current closer Emmanuel Clase. Now, in fairness to the Padres, Kluber wasn't even on their top 20 prospects list in both 2009 and 2010, while he was pitching favorable inning totals in affiliate ball, eclipsing 140 innings 3 years in a row from 08 to 2010. The results simply weren't there. San Diego received Ryan Ludwig in the trade, who never amounted to much for them with Petco Park's cavernous dimensions. As for Kluber, he wouldn't see MLB playing time until the following year, but he posted his worst numbers at any level in his AAA season for Cleveland in 2011. In 2 separate MLB stints, he pitched a combined 67 innings with a 5.35 ERA. He was not moving the needle much for their organization. It wasn't hard to see why, though. Baseball America's prospect profile wrote that he, quote, didn't have high upside, but he had a good feel for pitching and could be a back-of-the-rotation starter. Kluber, who sat at 94 miles per hour on his fastball, could overpower hitters, but couldn't ever seem to find the zone with consistency. He had a walk-per-9 rate near 4 in both AA and AAA. It was in May of 2012 that Ruben Niebla, who was with Cleveland for a 2-decade span from 2001 before taking on the pitching coach role for the Padres that he still holds, would offer Kluber some career-changing advice. Niebla asked him to start throwing a 2-seamer to play off his 4-seam heater, and after altering his grip, the pitch soared through the strike zone with sinking action. Kluber quickly turned his season around and was called up to be a regular in the rotation by next year. In 2013, his success began to come in droves, as Kluber's new 2-seam, sneaky slider, and electric cut fastball carried him to new heights. He was added to the rotation in late April and never lost that spot, finishing the season with a 3.85 ERA across 147 innings and slashing the walk rate from his minor league days in half. With his help, Cleveland used a dominant rotation to win 92 games and claim their first playoff berth since 2007. And while that team was successful, Kluber wasn't a huge part of it. His rise to prominence was just beginning as he embarked for his first true full season of work in 2014.
Hi, welcome to Morris Buick GMC. I'm Cory Kluber.
We're just starting to look.
Starting? I know what that's like. Another big win for the customer.
The season didn't get off to an ideal start, with him losing 2 of his first 4 starts in rough fashion, but he made his presence known with a dominant 4-hit complete game against the Kansas City Royals in late April, striking out 11 and walking none in the win. This was the first of 18 complete games in his career, which ranks 3rd among all active pitchers. After pitching to an ERA above 4 in April, he never posted a mark above 3 for the remainder of the year. Slow starts to a season will become a common theme in Kluber's career. Kluber continued to ramp up the usage of his sinker, with it sitting at a near 50% usage rate in the 2014 season. He tossed back-to-back complete games to close out the month of July, the latter coming against the Seattle Mariners, and more importantly, Felix Hernandez. King Felix, the 2010 AL Cy Young, would be the Klubot's main combatant for that year's award, as he finished the year with the league lead in both ERA and WHIP. But in this game, the two put on a masterclass, with the 2 aces allowing 1 base runner combined through the first 5 frames of play. In the end, Kluber bested Hernandez with a 3-hit shutout, walking none on just 85 pitches. Despite being top 10 in the American League for ERA+, fielding independent pitching, and strikeout per 9 rate at the All-Star break, Kluber did fail to make the Midsummer Classic, but this didn't stop him from continuing down a dominant season. His last 5 starts specifically, with Cleveland vying for a late season push towards the playoffs, aided his bid for an AL Cy Young Award. He won each of his last 5 games pitched, striking out 54 batters to just 5 walks issued, and striking out 14 batters in consecutive starts, the first pitcher to do so since Randy Johnson in 2004, nearly a decade prior. In the end, this race was incredibly close, with both Felix Hernandez and Cory Kluber receiving at least 13 first-place votes each. Hernandez had the edge in ERA and WHIP, while Kluber maintained an advantage in WAR and strikeouts, with the two essentially managing the same workload, walk rates, and home run rates. It could have easily gone either way, but in the end, after receiving not a single vote prior in his career, Cory Kluber won the 2014 American League Cy Young. His celebration plans were obviously very crazy because, just look at this guy, he's a party animal. He, of course, was as humble as ever when he found out he won, saying, "I was fully expecting Felix to win. He had an outstanding year. I just assumed with the year he had, who he is, and all the stuff he's done in the past, he was going to win." Kluber, born just 2 days before Hernandez, completed just his second full regular season en route to winning this award, while Felix had just wrapped up his 9th full season pitching in the league since he was 19. Talk about a late bloomer. Cleveland did fall short of a playoff berth in 2014. After the season, though, they wisely worked fast to ensure Kluber would remain with them long term, pouncing on his breakout season by signing him to a team-friendly 5-year extension worth $38.5 million with 2 option years at the back end. The team regressed further in a disappointing 2015 season as well, but that came at no fault of Cory Kluber. He tossed another 222 innings with an ERA 23% better than league average, tossing a career-high 4 complete games and once again punching out well over 200 batters. But that workload and efficiency would pale in comparison to Kluber's next trio of seasons, which can easily be considered the most impressive stretch of his career. Kluber, who developed a reputation as a slow starter, ended May of 2016 with a 4-6 record and 4.15 ERA in 11 starts. Not bad, but not good, similar to Cleveland's 26-24 record and 3rd place standing in the AL Central at the time. And for the rest of the season, Kluber locked in to an elite level. From the beginning of June to the end of the season, Kluber pitched to a 2.61 ERA in 141 innings, allowing more than 3 earned runs in just 3 of his final 21 starts. After his slow start, Kluber finished as a Cy Young finalist, winning 18 games and leading the league in ERA+ and FIP on the season. He also finally made the All-Star team, still somehow as a replacement player, but got some revenge by getting the win in the game itself for good measure. As for his team, Cleveland claimed first place on June 4th, right around when Kluber began to turn things around, and they held that position for 107 consecutive games, winning the AL Central Division title with ease. For the first time, Cory Kluber was going to pitch in the playoffs, but from how he performed, you'd hardly believe that it was his first time pitching in October. But before we get to Kluber, we need some important context. The Cleveland pitching staff had been solid all year long, with their 3.86 team ERA ranking 2nd in the American League, only to the Blue Jays. But in the stretch run in September, the team lost both Danny Salazar to an elbow strain and Carlos Carrasco to a broken hand. These guys both made 25 solid starts for the team that season, and suddenly they were not going to be a part of the playoff run. That meant the team was rolling into an October run with Trevor Bauer, Josh Tomlin, Ryan Merritt, and of course Cory Kluber as their starting 4. To say that the performance of their ace was vital to their success would be an understatement, but he was up to the task. Kluber shut down the potent Boston Red Sox offense for 7 brilliant innings in the American League Division Series Game 2 victory. Then he blanked the Toronto Blue Jays lineup for 6 1/3 innings in the ALCS Game 1 win as well. He dominated the Chicago Cubs in his first 2 World Series starts, pitching a combined 12 innings of 1-run ball. Kluber became one of just 9 pitchers ever to toss at least 20 innings in their first 5 playoff games, with an ERA under 1. A list featuring legends like Christy Mathewson, John Lester, and Ian Anderson, of all people. But as I'm sure most of you are familiar, Cleveland wasn't able to finish the job with a rotation being held together by cardboard and spit. Kluber, asked to pitch a 3rd time in the series, faltered in Game 7 of the World Series, allowing 4 runs in 4 innings as the Cubs went on to break their own curse. At the end of a grueling 2016 season, Kluber totaled 38 starts and a shade under 250 total innings, a Herculean workload for any modern pitcher. In a controversial 2016 Cy Young race where any of Kluber, Justin Verlander, or Zach Britton probably should have won, the award instead went to 22-game winner Rick Porcello, a decision that has aged just as well as you might expect. After a month-long injured list stint to rehabilitate his back with another early season slow start in 2017, Cory Kluber got right back to work the next season. He recorded recorded double-digit strikeouts in all but one start in both June and July of that season. Kluber's 5 complete games tied for the league lead with Irvin Santana and would be the most anyone would throw in a season for the next 5 years, when Sandy Alcantara did so in his 2022 Cy Young season. From the beginning of June to the end of the season, Kluber never pitched less than 5 innings in any of his 23 starts, allowing more than 3 earned runs just once. This seems to be a common theme. I think Cory Kluber is a summer guy from what I hear. Spoiler alert, Cory Kluber's road to his second Cy Young was much less competitive than his first. He led the American League in wins above replacement, wins, ERA, WHIP, ERA+, hit per 9, and strikeout to walk ratio, and he claimed 28 of 30 first place votes to beat out Chris Sale. Kluber became the first Cleveland pitcher in 60 years to lead MLB in ERA and became the fastest Cleveland pitcher to reach the 1,000 strikeout plateau. His Cy Young win in 2017 makes his snub to Rick Porcello the year prior all the more frustrating, as Kluber could have become just the 12th pitcher ever to claim 3 of the awards in their career. His dominance carried over into 2018, winning 20 games and leading the league in innings pitched and walk rate. He finished top 3 in Cy Young voting for the 4th time in 5 years and finished a 5th consecutive season with over 200 innings pitched. This 2018 season concluded an unbelievable 5-year stretch for the Klubot, one of the most remarkable by any starting pitcher in baseball history. Of pitchers who averaged 150 innings a year from 2014 to 2018, Cory Kluber stood head and shoulders above the pack. Only rivaled by the likes of prime Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw, he was top 5 in all major pitching categories and dominated the American League for a half-decade span. It is truly one of the greatest pitching stretches of the modern era, but the frustrating truth of it all is that Cleveland never accomplished as much as they should have in this window. Even with an American League pennant, an AL record 22-game win streak, and multiple Cy Young awards for their ace, the Kluber era in Cleveland always felt like it could have been more than it was. But at age 33 in 2019, the wear and tear of 200-inning seasons year in and year out began to finally take its toll on the ace, who made just 7 starts that season. This isn't to say that his arm gave out necessarily, as it actually was a line drive off of his arm that sidelined him in the first place in a freak injury. Kluber's difficulty recovering was apparent though, and after Cleveland missed the playoffs despite winning 93 games, they were faced with a tough offseason. After they exercised options of his extension to get to its final year in 2020, they decided to flip that final season of Cory Kluber for a trade package from the Texas Rangers, which included the aforementioned Emmanuel Clase. After a 9-year tenure, Kluber would don a new uniform for the first time at the major league level. This new journey to Arlington, Texas, however, lasted all of 1 inning when shoulder tightness cut his first start short, ending his 2020 season extremely prematurely. Anyone else remember that "a warning to the West" graphic that the Rangers Twitter posted? Congratulations on winning the World Series, guys. You certainly earned it. Kluber joined the New York Yankees on a 1-year, $11 million deal once he hit free agency for the 2021 season. Kluber displayed the capability to show flashes of his former self with some really stellar starts early in the season. The most memorable, of course, was his no-hitter in May of that season against who else but those poor Texas Rangers. Poor Rangers fans had to watch a pair of no-hitters, another team win a World Series, and Aaron Judge setting a home run record in their own fancy new ballpark before their own team did anything cool in it. Seriously, Texas fans, you guys earned this World Series. I need you to bask in it. As for Kluber's no-hitter, it was one of the final things he got to check off his career bucket list outside of hoisting a World Series trophy, but the good times were swept away quickly as Kluber suffered a shoulder strain in his very next start and wouldn't resurface until September, finishing the year on a mediocre note. Kluber did get over the hump by tossing 160 innings for the Rays in 2022, though not nearly at the elite level he once was just 4 years prior at that point. But things hit a tipping point this most recent season where another 1-year deal, this time with the Boston Red Sox, turned to disaster. Originally the opening day starter, Kluber was relegated to a bullpen role for the first time since his rookie season in 2011, and he closed the year with another injury and an ERA above 7. As of right now, it doesn't look like he has a good shot at another major league opportunity at age 37 with a long streak of recent injury problems to this point. So this very well could be the end of the story for Cory Kluber. It just goes to show how cruel of a sport baseball can be. But conversely, it was much more beautiful when he was pitching at an elite level in the 2010s. Cory Kluber's peak may never be matched again in Cleveland's franchise history, and even though they didn't get the job done in 2016, his playoff starts are some of the best this sport has seen in recent memory. It's no surprise that his arm eventually gave out in the end, but it doesn't take away from the fact that Cory Kluber was one of the best pitchers of an entire decade, which not many guys can say in MLB history. And reliving his career dominance was really fun to do in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel. Before you go, let's hear a word from today's sponsor, sponsor, the DraftKings Sportsbook.
Quick thank you to today's sponsor, which is the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, you can hop on their app for the first time and use our code OLIVE and bet $5 on any wager and win $200 in bonus bets. Football season is underway. It's been going on for a while, and as baseball season is fully winded down at this point, you can get in on the sports betting action with some same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine who's going to get 100 receiving yards, who's going to score a touchdown, what team is going to win. Combine all those bets for a shot at a huge payday at the end of your Sunday watching football, and use our promo code to do it. Code OLIVE, bet $5, win $200 in bonus bets. It's straight up, it's simple. Download their app and take advantage of it today. And thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video.